Hello, my name is Michael J. Emery. I'm a personal development coach in Portland, Oregon. I'd like to take just a couple of minutes and share my background with you. Often in conversation, people are curious to know what it is that I do for a living. And when I start to talk about transpersonal psychology, hypnosis, NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, spirituality, and life coaching, many people find that they're almost immediately intrigued and are curious to know more about the ways that I integrate these modalities into my business. So after I've finished explaining some of the intricacies of these topics and have answered the most common question, that hypnosis is a state of heightened awareness and you do have complete self-control, people want to know how it is that I've created my niches within this profession, and I'll share more about that in another video. Now, if you were to have asked me what I'd be doing today, say a decade ago, there's no way I could have foreseen that I'd become a life coach or a personal coach, let alone a certified hypnotherapist. For me, it took a drastic change in my circumstances to put me on this path. It was the end of a significant relationship that actually served as a catalyst in my life. And for other people, their reasons for personal development coaching range between career decisions to relationship problems and everything in between. Now, I can distinctly remember a bittersweet day when I made the decision to start over with whatever it was that I believed up to that point in my life. I was just going to throw it all away. And whatever seemed to be holding me back would go with it, right? And of course, if it was useful or true within a specific context, then I'd reintegrate that belief back into my life. Now, of course, it didn't happen that way because I actually had no idea what I believed. And as I later learned, most of our beliefs actually operate at an unconscious level. And so out of curiosity and an inner desire to better know myself, I began to look into personal development modalities. And during that time, I was also reading as much as I could about the lives of successful contributors to society. And the unique point that I noticed in most of their lives was an ability that they had to perceive a problem or a challenge from many different perspectives. And I later learned that many of these people use meditative practices or hypnosis as a means of better knowing themselves. So my curiosity was piqued, and I began to study hypnosis, and hypnosis led me to neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. And then I found transpersonal psychology as a great philosophical background for human potential. But anyways, there I was in 2002, just ending a marriage and finishing my bachelor's degree in marketing and advertising from Portland State University. I had no idea what I was going to do, and I just knew I was fascinated with the personal development topics that I've been exposed to. So one day, after finishing a final exam, I made what I constantly look back at as a great decision and a life-changing experience. And I'm sure that you've had one of those where you can look back to it today and go, wow, that was really something that changed my life completely. And I ended up booking an open-ended plane ticket down to South America. And there I traveled around for 6 months, and I was teaching English and visiting as many countries as I could. And before I left, I packed as many books and audio programs as I could find on transpersonal psychology, hypnosis, NLP, and all these things. And practically every single day I'd sit in a cafe for a few hours studying, or while I was traveling on a bus, I'd be sitting there listening to an audio program and taking notes. And I pretty much immersed myself in these topics, and when I returned to the States, I almost immediately enrolled in a certification program for hypnosis. And since then, I've completed a number of certification programs for NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, while completing my master's degree at the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology. The way I chose this profession began and continues with my own personal development. In many ways, my personal successes have come through failure, and ironically, failure is nature's way of teaching us how to succeed. So often there's so much emphasis in our culture placed upon immediate success that people in general begin to avoid failure, and as a result do not seek to be challenged. And for a while, this sort of complacency can be comforting, but eventually it'll begin to haunt us unless we choose to grow and actually experience full potential that we have. So counterintuitively, personal development seems to begin for many of my clients in a moment of seeming crisis. And it's not usually until a person has moved far enough out of their comfort zone that they've got no option but to choose to grow and to choose to develop. So there you got it, a little bit of a background on who I am and some of the things that I've experienced in my journey. I encourage you to check out the videos on this site and listen to the audio programs that I have available. And if after you've spent some time on my website reading more and viewing the other videos, you find that you're curious to experience a coaching session with me, then schedule a time to speak with me. Outside of Portland, Oregon, I'm available for telephone coaching, and if you happen to live in or near Portland, we can schedule a time to meet at my office. So check out my other videos, learn about the specific niches I focus upon for men and women, and if you get how my services would be relevant to where you're at in life right now, I'd love to speak with you. Be amazing.